Welcome to the Fight Night Daily Podcast with me, Spencer Oliver, and him, Mr. Radio Rahim. Radio, how are you doing, my friend?
I am always having a good time in Saudi because I love boxing and boxing loves Saudi.
Absolutely. Listen, we're at the grand arrival tonight down at Boulevard City, and on the stage right now, we've got Beterbiev. This is a chance for us to meet the fighters up close and personal and get a first look at them to see how they're feeling in this fight week. Now, let's talk about this with the fighters that we've got on this card. Let's start with Beterbiev. I mean, what have you made of him this week so far since you've seen him?
He's an icy assassin. The guy has so few words for you, but you know what he means with every inflection. You can't get anything out of Beterbiev except a knockout punch. Every time I talk to him, it's so awkward because I'm trying to pull some kind of emotion out of him, pull some kind of reaction out of him, and he seems happy and stoic, but so dangerous. I don't feel comfortable in his presence because it always feels like you're on the edge of something happening.
So what Radio's talking about here is he's got those shark eyes. You know what I'm saying? With those shark eyes, he looks at you and you think, whoa, don't want to upset this guy. He's just, there's a menace around him, you know. He's looking really, really good. And, you know, he just there's a real presence around him.
He says he doesn't like boxing. I think it might be because he only likes knockouts, and he doesn't think that the two are the same. Beterbiev is one of these guys who just comes to end the show. He doesn't want to spend a second in the ring that he doesn't have to, and that means you get no extra money for overtime in boxing, right? He'd make this fight 3 seconds if he could.
Listen, 21 fights, 20 of those fights by knockout there. You know, we got Bivol going in against him, the only guy that took him the distance. A little controversy around, did he win, did he not win? What does Bivol have to do different here? I thought Beterbiev won the last fight, by the way. I had him winning by a couple of rounds. How does Bivol turn this around? I spoke to him earlier, actually. I spoke to him yesterday, and he was saying that, listen, he had to overcome this. He's like, you know, he had to visit the demons there. You know, he had to go soul searching there.
I'd say what the judges have to do differently. We might part company on this one. I had Bivol edging it by a round for sure. It depends on what you like, though. It's certainly not a robbery. Beterbiev deserves all the credit in the world for fighting the fight he fought and closing strong, which in a lot of people's estimation is what won him the fight ultimately. Beterbiev has to do basically more of what he did the first time and earlier to win it on my cards. As far as Bivol, he is a perfectionist. He is going to be just brooding about every little mistake he made the first time. He's going back to the drawing board and looking inward. What I love about this guy is that he doesn't point to the judges. He doesn't point to Beterbiev having done something wrong by getting the victory. He looks at himself and says, what did I do right? I'm going to correct every little tiny mistake I made the first time and be perfect next time out. That is a champion's mentality, and I think he wins it again.
Yeah. Do you know what? The interesting thing about Bivol here is we get a first chance to see, you know, how that loss has affected him. He's had to go soul searching. He said it's made him better. It's made him hungrier. They stoked the fire, and he's going to come back. He's gone back to the drawing board. We may see something unbelievably special here. It's the best fight in boxing for me right now, and the rematch, we're gifted that we're getting it for the Undisputed again.
You know what this reminds me of? It's something like Canelo Triple G. The first fight was great. I thought the wrong guy won it. And the second fight, it was like the first fight not only didn't happen, but was tripled in action, tripled in excitement. Both guys knew what the other guy was coming to do and how he came to do it, and it made for such an explosive night. Some people weren't that entertained the first time Beterbiev and Bivol met. This time, I think it is going to be an absolute all-out war, and we're going to see the best of these guys like we've never seen them before.
Let's move down the card. You've got to talk about it now. The IBF heavyweight title fight, Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. Now, two heavyweights that have reinvented themselves, have come back, been running parallel, side by side. Daniel Dubois last time out against Anthony Joshua, Wembley Stadium. Boy, he walked out like the Terminator. You saw him, and that performance, that delivery was incredible.
I know why you say they reinvented themselves, but for me, it's Joseph Parker really who's done the reinvention, and it's Dubois who has matured and grown. I feel like there's not a whole bunch of years between them, but it's a lot of different experience in their paths, right? Parker, I think, has able to become something in this later stage of his career that he wasn't able to do early. He's found the trainer that's for him. He's found the mindset that works. He's found the weight that he needs to carry to be successful, and he's beating monsters. He is stopping monsters from being successful. I mean, the big punch from Big Bang Zhang, everybody thought was gonna put him on the canvas and keep him on the canvas. Wasn't able to do it. Nobody bigger than Deontay Wilder as a puncher. Wasn't able to knock Parker out. But Dubois, he might be able to do the business. A younger, more confident, in his stride kind of fighter might be the kryptonite for this Parker run.
Listen, you really don't know that. Parker, only 33 years of age. Can you believe that? You go back to like 2015-16 when he beat Andy Ruiz the first time for that WBO World Heavyweight title. But it's a fascinating fight. It really is. Interestingly, when I spoke to Joseph Parker, interviewed him yesterday, he says, you know what, Spence, they think I'm going to run because Dubois is going to come at me. He's going to come fast. I'm meeting fire with fire. Is that the right tactics?
I don't think he should run. I think he should box. I think he should say what he's saying, but don't do it. Don't do it. You don't want to meet Dubois in the center of the ring. You do not want to exchange with this man. It's exactly what Dubois wants to do, and Dubois will chase him. Dubois will have to learn how to cut him off and catch Parker because Parker has that kind of experience, that kind of acumen to be a technical fighter and win on the cards. There's no shame in that. Don't go out on your shield because you will go out.
And listen, let's talk about Alexander Usyk. We can't move away from these heavyweights without talking about Alexander Usyk. The winner says he wants Usyk. Usyk said he wants the winner.
That's right.
Is that a good... So let's break it down. Let's say Daniel Dubois comes through this fight and he wins. We know what happened last time he boxed Alexander Usyk. Could we see a different result this time if Daniel comes through?
Any trainer will tell me that boxing is at least 85% mental. I think that's the difference in what we may see if that rematch happens, because what mentally Dubois had to overcome in that fight, feeling like he was unfairly stopped from getting a potential win with this, some call it a low blow, some call it a body shot, but it was certainly effective, whatever it was. And Dubois thinks that he may have been denied a championship that he earned. He also has been called a quitter by Parker nonetheless this week. That's something that I believe rings in his ears and irritates him to no end. He wants to prove not only did he win against Usyk the first time, but that he comes back better, stronger, and decisively this time is the man. As he says, he believes it's his time, and that's the way to prove it.
Listen, winning that heavyweight title will elevate you to another level. Your confidence levels go up, you mature as a man, and that's what Daniel's done at the ripe age of 27 years of age. And I suppose $1 million question is, if he gets taken into the trenches by Joseph Parker, who he knows durable, knows how to take a fighter deep, knows how to take him into dark water, will he revert back to what he knows? You know, you talk about it and you say, yeah, this is where I am, I'm reinvented, but that is the $1 million question. Fascinating fight there. Rahim, I've got to ask you, where does AJ, where does Fury fit into this? Fury at the moment says he's retired. Let's start with Fury. Is he retired? Do you believe he's retired?
Fury is the guy on the sidelines heckling. You know that at any moment he might enter the fight. You know that guy that sits on the bar stool while everybody is mixing it up? And you're going to let him get away with that? You're going to let him get away with that? He's that guy. And at any moment he might step his foot right into the center and decide that he wants to be the man again. You just don't know with Fury. And I think everything he does is calculating. He is looking, I believe, for the best opportunity for his return. If I'm going to be the spoiler of the party. I don't think he wants to fight AJ, if I'm honest.
Well,
I think he wants to fight the winner of Dubois and Parker.
Listen, I don't care who he wants to fight. Tyson Fury, I know you're going to be watching this. If you are watching this, come on, big man, get back in the ring. We need you. There's big fights out there, and Anthony Joshua is that guy that we want to see. We need to see that fight. You know, we're talking about modern eras, legacies. You need to have the fight, mate. That is the fight that I want to see, and I know AJ wants to fight.
And that's why Fury won't give it to us, because he wants to be the guy who dictates what we see and when we see it. He keeps walking AJ down the aisle and not saying I do.
Yeah.
He loves winding this guy up and making everybody know that he's the one who gets to decide where and when. That is one of the ways he wins the first round of every fight, just getting in the other guy's head and not doing what he's supposed to do. He's going to make AJ wait, and I think there's a lot of fights out there for AJ. People who are saying that he's done or he should be hanging him up are absolutely ridiculously wrong. I think AJ's got more left in the tank. I would love to see him fight Dubois again if he, is successful come Saturday night. And I think the Joseph Parker fight rematch, Joseph Parker has earned that.
Absolutely.
There's a ton of fights. Zhang could be the fight for AJ.
Listen, can I do this? Can I do this? Do I dare say Deontay Wilder? Could we see AJ versus Deontay Wilder? There's talk of Deontay Wilder returning. Could we get that in Africa? Francis Ngannou, I'm hearing that as well.
Listen, you're talking to an American. I want
Come on.
Wilder,
Come on.
Joshua, any day of the week, anytime, set him up, let's play, I'm there. I am not one of these believers that Wilder is done. I think he needs the right opponent right now, and he needs to build that confidence back. I think he gets up for the Joshua fight. There's no telling who wins that fight. That big right hand is still there. He's just got to land it and believe that he can continue boxing to set it up. He just doesn't have to rely on that hand. He has to be able to set it up and get Joshua lined up with it, and if he does, we all know that it's very likely that that lands on Joshua, and that's the end of the fight. For the same reason I say Joshua is not done is because he's got that big right hand as well. He's an acumen fighter. He's got something to prove. This is as good a time for them to fight as it was when it would have been undisputed. It's just different circumstances, but the same kind of thing waiting in the balance. Is one of these guys going to continue, and is one of these guys going to really be done?
Come on, you heavyweights. We need to get this together. Listen, why I just mentioned that, actually, and I want to get into that. Africa. We believe there's going to be a fight in Africa. I've mentioned Deontay Wilder. Francis Ngannou's around. We know there's Anthony Joshua around. There's big fights to be made out there. Do you think that's something we could see as well?
It's something we have to see. First of all, the 50th anniversary of the Rumble in the Jungle deserves to be revisited. And if it's going to be in the Congo, it's got to be Martin Bakole. No question about it. I don't know who's going to be on the other side of that ring, but Bakole has got to be there. I would love it to be Anthony Joshua. I mean, and listen, he's not afraid, Anthony Joshua. I believe he would take that fight. If the money is right, the stage would certainly be big enough, and he has a heart of a warrior, wants to prove that he's got something left, and wants to slay the boogeyman. It's the same kind of thing as Rumble in the Jungle. Everyone's going to be expecting the big puncher for Bakole to knock out the flashy, bigger star in Joshua, and Joshua has to come and shake up the world.
Come on, man. I can't wait for these fights. Let's make those heavyweight fights. We need those. We need that modern legacy to happen. We've got to talk about the pound-for-pound star. How gifted are we? How lucky are we to be seeing Shakur Stevenson against Floyd Schofield? For you that don't know Floyd Schofield, by the way, what a journey this kid's been on. 18-0, 12 knockouts. Not many people know about him. Tries the shoulder roll, very heavy-handed. Gets his opportunity. This kid was took under his wing by his dad, who looked after him, took care of him. They ended up on the streets when he was 2 years of age, begging on the streets. This kid's had it tough. He's got that DNA, you know, he's got that dog in him. I spoke to him about that and, you know, the journey that he's had, and he said, look, opportunity, but come on, man, Shakur Stevenson, whoo, this guy is the real deal. The modern day Mayweather.
If I started with Schofield, I'd have to say that we've seen the father and son duo in boxing many times. And for the beginning of a career, to get a kid lined up for being a champion in the right mindset, to keep him on the straight and narrow, it sometimes takes a father to be a trainer. It takes a father to know how to keep a kid headed in the right direction and reaching for that goal. That's what Schofield's dad has done. I talked to him yesterday as well, and for the first time without his father. He is an affable guy. He's an articulate kid who knows what he wants, to say, and on Saturday night, he knows what he wants to do. But boy, I would say he's got the biggest hill to climb of everybody on this card.
Do you give him a shot?
Of course I give him a shot. I mean, listen, these lighter weights especially, if you can come on the night and just be the best you can possibly be, and it is the game plan that is the one to be successful, then you can win. It's not big knockout punching happening down there most of the time. So if Schofield can make it 12 rounds, we've seen Shakur not be exciting. We've seen the pressure that's put on him by social media to be a knockout guy, to be a closer. If he presses too much, if he feels that pressure from the audience, from his fans, to do something that he's not comfortable doing, maybe Schofield can find a way in that confusion to win.
You know, we're talking about Shakur being like, you know, not just a pound-for-pound star, but, you know, modern-day great of the future. If he's coming through all these fights and he needs these big fights, what's the reaction to him over in the States there? You know, how do they feel about him there? Is his fan base growing? Because you remember a young Floyd Mayweather?
Of course.
They never really took to him at first, and he become this guy, the Money Mayweather, the superstar. You know, he invented that brand. Could Shakur do a similar thing?
Shakur is Jersey's own. They love him in the States, but like I said, they will be critical if he's not exciting. And it's kind of the flip of Money Mayweather and Pretty Boy Floyd. Pretty Boy was an aggressive fighter. He was given knockouts. He was very, very offensive-minded. And we believe because of the hand brittleness, he had to switch his style. He had to become more defensive, and that got him some criticism. While he was the biggest moneymaker in boxing ever, he was able to figure out how to make fans. However, Stevenson needs to do it in reverse. He's not been that aggressive. He's not been the knockout guy. He's not been the closer, and that's what he's going to have to do if he wants to win fans and come anywhere near the kind of celebrity that Floyd Mayweather reached.
Listen, you've heard the card that we've got, but let's carry on. Let's move down the card now. WBC middleweight world title. Hamza Serez, Britain's own. He gets that opportunity against Carlos Adames. Tell us a little bit about Adames. He's a decent fighter, brilliant champion. Only one defeat, Dominican, switch hitter.
Listen, the Dominicans are always going to be complicated. They're always going to be difficult. No matter what you come in there to do, they've figured it out, and they've done it 1,000 times a different way. That's just the nature of the culture of boxing there. And don't forget, he's the champion. When Hamza reaches the ring, you'll think he's the champion because they love him here. They think of him as a hometown boy. They're going to be supporting him. But do not forget, Carlos Adames is the champion, and he will fight like a champion.
Who starts a favourite for you in that one? Because, you know, the British fight fans will say, yeah, you know, they'll be leaning massively towards Serez. He's on a roll at the moment, but this is a huge step up for Hamza, a huge step up, and that's the million-dollar question. Can he make those adjustments? Can he adapt into that sort of level? Because Carlos Adames, for people that are watching this that don't know, this kid can fight, man.
That's right.
Sharp hands, quick hands, great boxing variety,
That's right.
switch hitter. It's a tough night, isn't it?
You've said it exactly right. I'm not a big guy that leans on potential as achievement. It's going to be Hamza needing to make that potential achieve on Saturday night. Can he do the business? Can he do those things that he hasn't been forced to do in the past? Because Carlos Adames will force him to do that if he wants to get the win. This is going to be no small order. If Hamza comes through, it's because he really is a star.
Well, listen, let's talk about another big fight on the bill. Big Bang Zhang, Zhele Zhang. Yeah, come on, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Agit Kabayel, what a fighter, by the way, coming off a great win against Sanchez. He's the guy that's gone under the radar a little bit, Kabayel, but he's the one that will probably start this fight a favourite against Big Bang Zhang. What's your thoughts on that?
He's gone under the radar globally, but locally, I'd say he's a breakout.
Right.
He's every time shocked us. Nobody thought that he would be in the position that he's in, least of all him, that this fight can really be the crowning jewel in his achievements thus far. He has the kind of skill that you don't expect a big man to have. He has the kind of confidence and fluidity that most guys don't bring to the ring at that size. And he's fading a guy who, in last times out, hasn't been that fluid, hasn't really had the footwork, hasn't had the energy. So I'd say he's a favorite in this fight. As long as he can avoid the big bang, then he should be able to outpoint and maybe outclass Big Bang Zhang.
Well, one of us is going to be right, and the reason one of us is going to be right, because I'm going for Big Bang Zhang. I think that, listen, slow feet, quick hands, good boxing IQ, big left hooks, big right hooks, and I tip him to win that one, but it's a great fight. Let's move down the card. We've got to continue. Virgil Ortiz versus Israel Madronov. What a fight we've got there as well. Hold on a minute. I think we got a guest. In the house.
Here, Johnny. You're the big man. Come on.
Yeah, we only called him about half an hour ago. Don't worry, better late than never. Come on, Johnny. Listen, mate, what do you make about that tonight?
You know what? I actually think this is going to be such a mad bill. So 4 o'clock, Sky, come on. We're starting with Smith, Buatsi. That fight could fill out any arena. You look at every fight on this bill, it could top any bill. It is mad. And then we've been talking about Parker and Dubois, but that's not even top of the bill. You've got Bivol against Beterbiev. What a mad fight. To me, as a fighter, you know, they say this is one of the greatest bills we've seen. I'm old enough to remember Don King putting some mad bills together. This modern day is one of the best bills I've seen, and Riyadh Season's doing an amazing job.
Listen, we've been talking for about half an hour here, going through this card, and we ain't even got to Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith yet. That is the depth of the card, and how good it is. Johnny, I mean, in all the years that we've been in boxing, and we've travelled around, like you, Radio, as well, never seen anything like this, man. For the boxing fan, right from top to bottom, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. And remember this. I looked, when I saw Buatsi Smith, I thought, Smith lost it. You know, because this is a dangerous fight. And then Smith walked out. They announced this guy's success rate. He talked about what he'd done as a champion, and he's been beaten by 2 people. His resume is mad. And so Joshua Buatsi has to prove he's the fighter we're all expecting him to be, because Smith has already done that, and Smith has only lost to the best. So that's why I think this fight, 2 fights go the distance. Only 2. Ortiz and the top of the belt. Every other fight gets stopped inside the distance.
Radio, take it away, man.
You know, Johnny, there's no superstars on this card. Anybody can be the shine on the night.
Stevenson wouldn't say that.
They'd all say it about
Careful,
themselves, but nobody has enough room from the others to say that they are the breakout star until Saturday night. If you had to pick who might make up the most distance in their stardom, who might come out on Saturday night the biggest shine, who's that going to be?
Oh, that's a toughie, man. That's a toughie. But you know what? I think it's going to be the fashion of the win. Damn. I'm going to look at, oh, man. Man, I just was about to say one, then I looked at other. I looked at
That's
Smith.
the beauty of this card.
I looked at Dubois. I looked at Stevenson. It's just, oh, man, I'm struggling. I'm struggling. So, you know what? For once, I'm sitting on the fence.
Right, listen. Splinters again. Don't worry about that. We'll move on. Because I've got a subject I want to talk to you about.
Let's do it.
And I know that you're going to say something. You might be a little bit controversial about it as well. I want to talk about the heavyweights, the current crop of heavyweights, and the current heavyweights that have retired that may be making a comeback.
Retired. Listen, over there you've got Frank Warren and you've got Eddie Hearn stood there. They're talking. I'm talking to Spencer Brown. You know what? Tyson Fury today believes he's retired. He ain't done. We're still fighters. We still think we can fight. But so there's no way he's done. He's going to sit at home on Saturday night. He's going to watch this fight and think, I'm having some of this. I don't care what they say. You've got Anthony Joshua. We've not picked the next opponent coming through yet in regards to not mentioning it. But I bet you one thing. I bet if Joseph Parker wins, all of a sudden he'll have a name in his mouth. You remember when Lennox Lewis boxed Hassan when he was drunk in the ring and he said, I want a rematch. He said it in the ring. I'm telling you that if Joseph Parker wins, that is the name that's in his ass. But
Right.
Anthony Joshua will be shouting out. He should be shouting out Dubois.
Do me a favour. While we're on the heavyweights, I want you to rank the heavyweights. Where do they sit right now? Forget Tyson Fury's retired. Right, we've got Alexander Usyk there. He's waiting to see what goes on with the winner of
number
this.
one. He's
We've got
number
young fighters coming through. We've got Usyk at 1.
Yeah.
This is now going to get interesting. Who's at number 2?
You know, officially, you've got
Come
to
on, man.
you've got to look at Danny Dubois. You've got to look at Danny Dubois, and you know what? You've got number 1, and he's put himself in a great place. Joseph Parker's put it's ranked perfectly. This is what Riyadh season is about. Number 1 fighting number 2, number 2 fighting number 3, and you've got to look at them coming through. Then you've got to look at the young crop.
Before we get to the young crop, you mentioned number 3 there. Go on.
Number three was of course Joseph Parker.
Number 4.
And number 4, oh, come on, man.
Come on, man.
You know what? I tell you what. Look on the bill. We'll see on Saturday night because if Zhilei Zhang, could it be Zhilei Zhang or will he get turned over? I think it can be. So you've got to be careful. You've got to think about what's there.
If it is Dubois and we see Usyk Dubois 2, does it change this time out and how?
No, I don't. I think Usyk is the kind of guy that once you box him once, he's downloaded your blueprint. He's got you, man. And always the second fight's easy. He did it with Joshua. He did it with Fury, and he'll do it with Dubois.
Is it the same?
He's smarter than them all.
Is it the same blueprint for Dubois now that he's, I think, changed significantly since
nothing
last?
changes apart from that for Dubois. That's the only thing that changed. But Usyk, too slick, too clever, too smart, too sharp. He's got so much talent in regards to the crop that's out there. He can think, he can fight, he can box, he can do the lot.
Give me AJ versus Fury. Will that fight ever happen? The public want to see it. We want to see it. Do you think it happens?
It doesn't happen if AJ or Fury boxes anybody else in between then and now. It's got to happen. And I think this is about negotiation. You know, Eddie got it right. He said he's trying to push the price up. You can't say I'm retired today, I want half a bill the day after.
Where does AJ Fury sit in this current crop right now? Where would you rank them right now?
I'd put him in the top 5 to 10.
Whoa, top 5 to 10. I need something a little bit more
5 to
specific.
10. Okay, you'd say.
Right, you've gone Usyk
Oh,
one,
yeah,
right?
no, I'd say you've got to put Fury above AJ. So I'd put him at 6. I'd put AJ at 7.
Wow.
For now, because remember you've got your kids like Moses Atamu that are coming through.
I was going to ask you.
You've got Fabio Wardley that's coming through. You've got them coming through. These guys are dangerous young lions coming through. And when they're there, man.
Can Moses take over in 12 months?
Yes, he can, without a doubt. He is such an underrated, unassuming young man, but he's an animal.
Radio, I want to hear that from you as well, actually.
Moses is one of these guys that we're not talking about at the top of the division yet.
We shouldn't talk about him yet. Give the boy time to grow.
And not only does he need time to grow, he needs tough challenges before he gets to the elite level. It's the potential thing is always a stone in my pocket. I don't like to elevate these guys until they've actually done something of significance. Everybody looks great when you're a talent against mediocre competition.
The heavyweight landscape will have changed completely. And these young men that we're talking about, Wardley, Moses, these guys will be the young ones that you're thinking, wow. And then we'll be getting excited to the end of next year to see them not fighting.
Johnny Nelson,
Peace.
as always, my friend,
Peace
thank
in
you
the
so
Middle
much,
East,
man, and we'll see you tomorrow. Top man. Well, that was great, man.
One thing
that was great.
I'd like to pick up on what Johnny said about this next generation. The question is, when does it tick over, right? I mean,
12 months.
12 months.
12 months, it'll change. 12 months that we'll see this current generation, the current top crop of heavyweights that are in the twilight. They'll all be gone in the next 12 months or so, and they'll box each other. We've seen those couple of fights, and you have the young crop coming through. But listen, we're waffling on a little bit here. I'm cold. We're in Saudi Arabia. Look, I've got Johnny Nelson's jacket on. It's absolutely freezing. I've only packed shorts, flip-flops, T-shirts, and I need to go, man. I'm cold.
I'm the American from California. I'm doing just fine. You're supposed to be from England with all the chilly weather. What's going on?
You know what they say.
You know what I mean? I'm a gunner, everything. I'm the real Brit here now. I'm taking over.
Mate, I'm a Southern softie. But on that note, thanks for watching the Fight Night Daily Podcast. You can catch us across all the talkSPORT platforms all through the week. Until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.